Welcome to Spoiler Alert. I'm Ryan, and this was originally going to be a double bill episode of Billie Eilish Hit Me Hard and Soft and Mortal Kombat 2, but I decided to scrap that after seeing Obsession, and I'd like to welcome to the show, and this is the first time I'm meeting him actually, the Suplexorcist himself, Christopher Kohlenberg.
How's it going, guys?
Go ahead and tell us about yourself.
Um, I'm a kind of bit all over the place. Kind of jack of all trades. Big horror movie junkie. Um, I go once a week to go see usually a new horror movie in theaters. My friend Kelly and I. I used to be the former owner of Ruthless Pro Wrestling. I've been a part of movies. I was a musician touring for a while. I've done stand up comedy. I've kind of been all over the joint. So
Okay, so you and I do have a lot in common. We're both jacks of all trades. Hell yes. All right, so I had planned to do the Billie Eilish Hit Me Hard and Soft and Mortal Kombat 2, but I had a guest in mind for that fell through. And then Angel Studios Animal Farm ended up being an hour plus, and I had to do some additional mixing to that. So when I saw Obsession after I got done watching Bloodywood in Detroit, I was like, I need to do an episode on this, and I need somebody who knows horror. And your name popped up on my Facebook. I was like, isn't this Peapod's friend who has the horror podcast? And I was like, yeah. And I immediately messaged you when you talked about Obsession
yeah,
on
I'd
Facebook.
I'd seen this yesterday. I had kind of a weird day yesterday. I was with my friend. We were trying to pick up an RV we had bought, and we got kind of stuck in Sandusky all day, just waiting on this tow truck to come get it. We had some time to kill, so we ended up just finding the local cinema and going to see Obsession because we were waiting to see it. I was originally invited to a early screener for it by Blumhouse, but then that ended up falling through because they ended up inviting too many people. So I saw it kind of under duress already, which kind of put me in a crazy mindset to go through this movie.
Oh, yeah. And my story was after I went to see Bloodywood, I stayed in a hotel in Southgate, and MJR is right over there in that area. So I decided to go do a double bill with Obsession and Is God Is. And that ended up being a really good double bill.
Oh yeah, I slightly
Yeah.
ouched this guy is. That's probably gonna be what's next.
Yeah, that's actually really good. I highly recommend it. I just wrote a Letterboxd review for that too. So, Obsession is directed by Curry Barker, who directed the Milk and Cereal YouTube film, which is streaming on his YouTube channel for free. And
Yeah,
we've been seeing a lot of YouTubers to filmmakers going into that pipeline, like Chris Stuckman with Shelby Oaks, the Philippa brothers with Talk to Me and Bring Her Back, Markiplier with Iron Lung, and Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. And then you have Kane Parsons with Backrooms coming out within the
yeah,
next couple weeks. And I find that to be an interesting little pipeline because it proves that you either have it or you don't. And some of these YouTubers do have it and some don't. Like for example, I saw Shelby Oaks when during one of the mystery screenings in October. It came out a week or so before. And I was like, it's okay. He has a good eye. He needs to get someone else to write his screenplays.
yeah. I also saw was it part of the secret movie series you saw? Yeah, that's how I saw it as well. And I had been following it for a little bit because not a lot of people know this, but he started like this kind of discourse on Reddit ahead of time about the paranormal paranoids, which was the characters in the movie. He made it. No one knew it was coming from him, but he made like this conspiracy, like whatever happened to these people and all this footage that went up years before this movie ever came out. So I thought it was interesting that he used like the platform of YouTube and Reddit to like plant the seeds of what would end up turning into his movie. I thought it was an ASMR, uh, or not ASMR. Like what's the like the long form storytelling on YouTube? Like I watch a lot of those horror ones, like This House Has People or There's No Sun.
Uh Creepypasta, that's like the only thing that's popping in my head.
There's like a specific name for it. It's not ASMR. That's something else. But there's like a certain name for it like that, where like you use like clips or long form storytelling in YouTube and other mediums to like write a horror story. Like there's ones where like, they give you hints and clips and there's like secret links and you can kind of go through and the little puzzle to figure out, which I think is an interesting way of telling horror. And I think that YouTube's definitely starting to be pretty cool for that. But he had actually was planting the seeds for this, years ago, not no one knowing it was him. And then, the movie itself, I didn't hate it, but I found it, a little underwhelming.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But I will say this, 2 of my favorite films this year are from YouTubers. My favorite film so far this year is Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. And now one of my favorite films this year is Obsession. This is what I like to call a next level movie. A film where a filmmaker is going to blow up.
I've been following Curry for a while now, because he mostly does comedy sketches.
Yeah.
It's him and the guy who plays Ian, Cooper is his real name, do comedy sketches under the name That's a Bad Idea. And every once in a while, he would put up like a short horror thing. Like there was one called The Chair, and I think one called like The Warning. And they'd be like under 20 minutes, and they were effectively creepy. And some of even the comedy sketches he did would dip into being creepy. And then when Milk and Cereal dropped, he made that thing for like $850. And it made my top 10 list of that year, like of like favorite movies. And that's going against everything I saw in the cinemas and everything else. So I knew that, that he had a good eye. And then I keep up on, a lot of horror YouTube, like a lot of the people that go to the film festivals ahead of time. And everyone that saw the early screen of this thing was just freaking out about it. So it really got on my radar pretty heavy before I finally got to see it.
Yeah. And I just watched Milk and Cereal for the first time a couple days ago. Like, it was on my radar, but I couldn't get around to it because I'm like hyper fucking busy. And I sat down and watched it, and I dug the hell out. Like, it was clearly made for $850, but he clearly knows how to use a camera, build tension, build suspense. And when I saw Obsession, the trailers for Obsession, I was like, this looks fine. It looks like a run-of-the-mill Blumhouse movie. And then after the credits rolled, my jaw dropped. I was like, yeah, this is one of the best films of the year. Because I take hype with a grain of salt.
Me too.
Like, for example, like the week before, I watched Hokum on a Tuesday with Adam Scott. That's a neon movie getting all this hype, all this buzz, as they're trying to become the new A24.
Yes.
Because A24 is trying to go a little more mainstream. And
it almost seems like they're trying to flip flop.
Yeah. And I'm watching Hokum and I'm like, this is incredibly overrated. It's fine. Adam Scott's carrying it on its back. I was just bored for most of it.
I'm going to have to disagree. I really enjoyed Hokum.
I wanted to like it, but there wasn't that ingredient that clicked for me the way Obsession clicked with me.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you, I think from personal experience, Obsession clicked for me from having several toxic relationships in my past. And it literally put me back in the head space of some situations I've been in as dealing with things that didn't seem, by someone that's supposed to care about you, but didn't seem rational, logical, and was all downright manipulative. And it brought some memories kind of flooding back to me. So I think it had even like a visceral reaction from just past experience and trauma,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's what's great about Obsession. It's like, this guy is marginally attractive. He can probably pull any woman if he really worked on himself, worked on his confidence.
Like, yeah, the only real problem with him is he's just kind of, he's got no backbone and he's got no confidence in himself. If he would have had that, and she even tried to give him the alley-oop before he did this, like she flat out asked him like, hey, if you're into me, we're going into spoiler country now, but I mean, that's the name of the show, right? Like, you're into me, tell me now. And he's like, I think we're good friends. He's fucking, because he had no balls. He dropped the ball.
Yeah.
None of this had to happen, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I like about Obsession. Like, the film starts off as our main character Bear is scripting out what he wants to say to his childhood sweetheart Nikki. And
Yes.
then you have his alpha friend Ian, who was in Milk and Cereal, as like the second guy that is.
Well, that's Curry Barker's partner. So like so he has in everything that Curry does. That's like the that's a bad idea. The comedy duo is both of them. So he's always in Curry stuff.
And I like how he's roasting him, giving him shitty pickup artist advice. I can see this guy being in like a sitcom of some sort. Like, he has great comedic timing. He's basically the character I'd write as my Spencer if I was writing a screenplay. Or he's very jokey, very fuck you. Hell yeah, bro. Trying this. Like,
He's kind of the funny, the comedic relief, but not being the nerdy comedic relief. Like he's kind of more got a bit of a broishness to him. And I think the way they dressed him and always having like the backwards hat on and like the polos with the colors and shit kind of really added to that. Where, he's like, yeah, he's given like cheesy pickup lines, but with his energy and his look form of confidence, that kind of shit works.
yeah. And it's revealed it's a waitress singing in front of him, not Nikki. And I like that the waitress is going along with this. And while this is going
deep
on,
down she was terrified.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And then Bear, Ian, and Nikki are planning to go to this trivia night along with their friend and coworker Sarah. And then while all this is going on, he then comes home to find his cat accidentally OD'd on his OxyContin, saying, check out his OxyContin.
Yeah.
So, if you followed this channel for the past few months, you know I lost my cat / co-star of the New Rums Media YouTube channel, Butters, in January.
Sorry. I lost mine last year as well, so.
Yeah. This scene hit me unexpectedly. I came home from Detroit and caught the last moments of his life. It wasn't like he was already dead, but he was almost dead.
Yeah.
And I was trying to find a place for him to put him down around that time, and he just ended up dying at home. And it was kind of beautiful, actually, that he died at home.
Yeah, at least you were with him.
Yeah. And so, straight away, I love that this film uses relative unknowns in this cast. You have Michael Johnston, who plays the lead character Bear, and is also credited as additional voices in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a game I'm
Really?
addicted to right now. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. For all we know, he could be one of the guys who challenged me to Queen's Blood in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a game that's basically Magic the Gathering, but extremely lame and confusing, which is the bane of my fucking existence. Because you have to play Queen's Blood to advance the game. I hate every minute where I have to feel obligated to play Queen's Blood to move the main story along.
Yeah.
And the tutorial barely teaches you how to play it. I'm like looking at 20 Queen's Blood tutorials to play that.
I haven't dived into that yet. I have it downloaded. It's in my queue. I got just sucked into Arc Raiders for a couple months, and I haven't really been playing anything else but that. But I'm planning on getting there.
Yeah. But Michael Johnston, he is excellent in this role. You get this sense that he wouldn't even know what to do with a girl if she were naked right in front of him.
One of the things I really liked about this, and I'm wondering if they did it on purpose, is even though she's obsessed with him, and that's the whole crux of the movie, they have no sexual chemistry. They never did. So, even when she's throwing herself at him, he doesn't really know how to handle it. You never feel any connection there, any spark, which you do actually feel when you watch him and Sarah's character um, interacting with each other, which I think also leads into a little bit of the horror because it feels so unnatural even when you're watching it because there is no chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point because I sat there and I was like, this is friendship chemistry. There's no way these two are going to fuck. Like, he is perpetually friend zoned with this girl. And believe me, I get it. Like, she's fucking fine as hell. I'd be stammering and yammering my way too. And the only big name in this film is Andy Richter, and he's the owner of the music store they all worked at.
Yeah, I was surprised it popped up. I leaned into my friend I was with. I was like, "Is that fucking Andy Richter?" Because they didn't advertise. You'd think that they would like
Yeah, it's like
they
wild
would
Andy
pop up with the
Richter.
market here, like, "Hey, we do have a name in this thing."
It's like how Keith David shows up in Shelby Oaks.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, wow, Keith David's here. Okay.
they did advertise Keith David being
Yeah.
in the movie though. Like, they made no, and one of the things I did like about the marketing was the original trailer. It gave you nothing but like him. It was just them calling to try to cancel The Witch,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah.
I like when they get a hook in you like that, where you're like, that was interesting, but it told me nothing, you know?
Yeah, those are the trailers I usually love, but it's just like one of those candidates for what I like to call the 355 award for most overplayed trailer, which I named after the movie The 355 because at the time of that film's release, that trailer would play in front of literally everything, even like kids' movies.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of them like right now that are going out. Like for a while, that movie Drop was playing in front of everything,
Yes.
like the preview, and I was like, this looks horrendous. I've heard it's not bad. I haven't watched it. It looked like nothing up my alley, but I would go see like even like you're saying a kids movie, and it'd be like, yeah, check out Drop.
From the writers of Blumhouse's Fantasy Island, and it's actually pretty okay. Like, I
I've
didn't
heard it's
hate
not
it.
bad.
But one name I hope becomes big is Inde Navarette as Nikki. This performance is downright fucking exceptional.
I was absolutely blown away because it's not easy doing what she did to begin with or what she was asked to do, but there's certain behavioral flips. Like when she very few times she does click back to being Nikki, where you can see that she's completely a different person. Like I don't know, bam, and then she's right back into it. Um, and like the use of her body and her movement. That like a lot of times, like just the way you like it's focusing on Bear, but you see her in the background, almost like a menacing shadow, just following him around. And
Yeah.
some of the like the monologue she had, like when she was in the kitchen and she's silhouetted, and you can kind of just see her eyes a little bit.
She has to hit a lot of notes. She has to be the caring friend, Bear's unrequited love interest, but most importantly, the extremely obsessive girlfriend. Not only does she hit every note, she nails everything about this character. It shows that she actually cited Pearl as an influence for this character.
I heard that in an interview, and I was once I saw that, I was like, that completely makes sense because her and Mia Gough's performance of Pearl is very similar. I think Um, Pearl is more of a slow descent into madness to where this is almost just like an instant
Exactly.
flip, you know?
This role isn't just my favorite performance of the year so far. I want an Oscar nomination for her. She should be the front runner.
I agree with that completely. Unfortunately, the history of the Oscars always shows that horror movies get the snub. Um, the best I could hope for, because I don't think, I agree. I think she should win an Oscar, but in these kinds of situations, um, horror movies always get the snub. So I think at least I hope that this is seen by the right people and they start giving her, bigger, meatier, juicier roles and getting her name out there more. Because this girl should be a superstar after this thing. He found her at because I looked her up. I was like, what the hell else has she been in? It's like 6 other movies, and they're like no budget indie things. So
Yeah, apparently she was on Superman and Lois,
okay.
but I've never seen Superman and Lois, so I couldn't point her out.
Me neither. I looked it up on Letterboxd, and they also don't really give you TV credits. I should have looked it up on IMDb, but movie credits, she doesn't really have shit.
Yeah. Okay, Academy, it's time to put you to the test. Did you give Sinner 16 nominations and 4 wins because you love movies, or because you wanted to pat yourselves on the back for watching a movie with a predominantly black cast that happened to be a horror movie? I'm guessing it's the latter, because this is Inde Navarette is giving a damn near Oscar caliber performance.
It was unsettling. Like so this movie, and like we were talking how YouTubers are making good horror. I think my theory, this what we're talking about leads into that, is they learn how to make a lot out of nothing, like with no money. And I think with Milk Cereal and this is he came up with concepts where he didn't have to have money and just relied on the creepiness of the situation. This would be the extreme because I found out this one had less than $1 million. It made it for $750,000. So
Yeah,
he came up with a situation where the actors are the horror, and he didn't have to have a lot of special effects. And finding her, and like, I mean, if he had the wrong people in this movie, wouldn't have worked.
exactly.
But I also think that that's what leads into like what we were talking earlier, why YouTubers are making good horrors because you give them a little bit of money and they know how to do a lot with it because they're used to working without any at all.
I saw Iron Lung, and Markiplier put that in the theaters himself. There's no studio logo in front of that. I admire the hustle of that, even if I've never seen a Markiplier video in my life. I admire that kind of hustle.
I I didn't actually end up seeing Iron Lung. I hear it's coming free to YouTube later this month. But he did self finance the whole thing, and I believe he made like an absolute killing off that thing.
Oh yeah, like it was close second behind Send Help.
I really enjoyed Send Help. I think it's been an interesting year for horror itself because it's not a lot of the same. They're kind of all over subject wise. I know you didn't like Holcomb, but that felt like a very old school kind of movie to me. We had Primate, which is like a good creature feature. You know, a tired genre like zombies. We had Bone Temple, which is actually really good. Like it's
Oh yeah, I love Bone Temple. I s- Bone Temple and Send Help on 4K about a couple weeks ago.
and then yeah, Send Help. I mean, that was I love seeing Sam Raimi back to doing horror. Apparently, he's got another one in the pipeline. So yeah, I think it's been a really strong year for movies and for Obsession. I think it's like a mile ahead of all the other movies that came out this year.
Oh
That good.
yeah, if I were doing my favorite films right now, it would be number 2 behind Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
I haven't seen that yet either. Simply because I've been really wanting to see it, but the rental on it just to rent it's almost $20. So
It's coming out next week on video, so it should come down to like $6 because I just ordered the Blu-ray of that.
yeah,
And I got a message today saying that it's coming next week. So it should come down to like $6 next week.
yeah. Once it hits that price point, I'll hit it up. I'm a big fan of the guy that made that. He did that movie, The Dirties, and was a big part of the story. Yeah, I really enjoyed him. So I'm
He's
looking forward to it.
directing the Anthony Bourdain biopic for A24.
Is
I
he?
can't
That's
wait
him?
for that. Yep.
Oh, okay. I really
Matt
liked what he did with
Johnston.
Blackberry. I really
Matt
liked what he did with
Johnston.
Blackberry.
Oh yeah. I dug the hell out of Blackberry. And when I saw Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, I was like, again, this is another next level filmmaker. It's my first Criterion since Anora. Which, yeah, that movie's gonna come into play later.
Didn't catch Nora yet either.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to spoil it to talk about why I love the ending when we get to it.
It's fine. One thing about me is I spend a lot of my time watching the worst of the worst, bottom of the barrel, dog shit horror movies where I should be watching, some of these like Oscar winners and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
my brain isn't wired that way. I'd rather click on something that no one wants to watch and that I've wasted 2 hours of my life on for some reason.
Yeah. I just did that with Angel Studios' Animal Farm. My god, I fucking hated every second of that movie.
I've heard it's terrible.
Oh, it's worse than terrible. Like, I seriously thought about walking out when I used the bathroom. And then I tell this story on the episode, but I'll tell it here. Like, I walked to my car and Siskel's review for Black Sheep popped into my head, where he flat out admitted he walked out 20 minutes with 20 minutes left in the film. I was like, motherfucker, I could have walked out. It just had Michael fill me in.
Still, like, you know what? I just had to tap on this one, guys. I couldn't do it.
while all this is going on, Bear talks to Nikki on the phone and then overheard she lost a crystal necklace, and which is how we get into the One Wish Willow setup, where he goes into like this crystal store, like this new age store, and it looks like a light up toy.
It looks
And
like you remember when you get a comic book when you were a kid and there'd be those gag gifs like the X-ray specs and all that. It looks like it'd be like something on that page
yes, yes.
or the
And
hand buzzer.
and so he ends up buying a crystal necklace and a One Wish Willow. And after their trivia night, Bear drops Nikki off and he gets extremely awkward and calls her Freaky Nikki, which she hates. And then he kind of gets friend zoned right then and there.
Yeah, well, the worst part is he was taking advice that Ian could do that. You know, he was like, "Ah, be a little mean while you're flirty," you know, and girls like that. Then he gave it a shot, but he's so awkward and unconfident. It was just like, "No, you're an asshole, dude."
Yeah, yeah. And then he breaks out the One Wish Willow, which is the teaser trailer basically. And then she comes back to the car and tells him she feels bad and kisses him all of a sudden. This brings up a legitimate ethical dilemma. Was he in the right to even make that wish real or not? This isn't Wonder Woman 1984 where Wonder Woman fucks a random guy because she wished Steve Trevor back to life and it goes unacknowledged. The real Nikki is still in there.
Yeah, I am a firm believer that Bear is the villain of this movie.
Yeah, I'd argue he's the villain too. Because my first thought would not be to, after having this awkward conversation, would be to, oh, I don't know. I wish Nikki would love me forever and ever and ever and ever. Like, I agree. He is the villain. And I saw a reel earlier today during my downtime at work where this woman was talking about how Companion and Obsession are both similar movies, but they're flipped around. And I was like, yeah, that's actually true. And it's revealing that these were both directed by white men who are basically telling men, hey, you're not owed a woman. And I guess I fucking love Companion too. Like,
Oh yeah, it was
that
great.
and Obsession would be a great double bill.
Yeah, 100%.
Once I get the inevitable 4K for Obsession, I am definitely making that a double bill.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I think you'd have to put Obsession second though.
Oh yeah, it's definitely second. You need the lightheartedness, then the hardcore darkness.
Yeah, because that shit goes so dark by the end of it.
Oh yeah. And then Nikki comes back to the car and tells him she feels bad and kisses him. Then all of a sudden, we're in the house and Nikki's making a memorial. And while this is going on, he thinks she's on something.
Yeah, she thinks she took MDMA.
Yeah,
'Cause that's what she tells Ian and Sarah and eventually him, like, why her behavior was like, 'cause she just like, "Oh, you know, that wasn't me," you know?
yeah. She doesn't seem like the kind of person that would do something like that. Like she comes off as very girl next door, basically.
I think during the bar scene, they did a really good job in a very few amount of scenes of establishing what kind of person she is and, like, how her behavior would be, like, you kinda know this person already, and
Yeah,
when it flips to this, you're like, "Alright, this is all really uncomfortable already."
and that's why I liked her as a character. And then they end up dating, which makes Ian and Sarah feel uncomfortable. Again, I want to shout out Megan Lawless too. She is excellent, even though she really isn't given much to do in this film. She kind of feels more or less like an afterthought.
I don't know about an afterthought, but, like, more of more of just a non-fleshed out side character. I mean, I think when she's there, you already know who that person is as well. But she just doesn't have a lot of screen time or lines, you know.
Right.
When she finally does, you know, it doesn't go well for her. But
Oh yeah. Ian then calls Bear and reveals that Nikki's dad is not only healthy as a horse, but that Nikki hates him. When Nikki's saying to Bear that, oh, my dad has cancer and all this shit. And then while all this is going on, Ian then confirms that he and Sarah had a conversation together and confirmed that Nikki sees him as a little brother, going back to what you said about how there's zero chemistry between Bear and Nikki.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. Like she gives off like, oh, little brother, that's the only thing she gives him until this whole thing happens.
And then it gets to the scene that's being memed right now as we speak. And you already know what I'm talking about. But yep, in the context of the film, it's creepy as hell. He basically wants to know if it's true that her dad doesn't have cancer. And then Inde Navarette just keeps delivering no with such ferocious intensity with every delivery. And there's just nonstop tension throughout this film. Even at the beginning of the film, as Bear is trying to pick up Nikki. It's like how Charlie XCX's song House from Wuthering Heights became a meme when it is unironically a great fucking song.
Out of my wheelhouse, brother. I listen to death metal.
Like I love everything except country.
Fair enough.
And one of the bands I saw live called The Pretty Wild, they were this insane metalcore band. And they were fronted by two really hot blonde women.
The two blonde girls. Yeah.
And I then find out they started off as a country act. And I'm like, okay, it's usually the other way around. Like, usually you go metal and then you go country.
I think that they're trying to I think they got a studio behind them trying to like push them in a certain direction to make money. I think they're trying to be like baby metal, if you're familiar with.
Right. But they put on one hell of a set to the point where I ordered their vinyl.
Right on.
And after that, there's a sex scene where Nikki is blank-faced and Bear is fucking her. And again, like, zero chemistry. Like, this is just clinical.
She doesn't even look like she's enjoying it or she's even there. She's just staring at the ceiling and he's just humping away.
And after all that, Nikki's watching him sleep. And once he wakes up, she duct tapes the door, packs a lunch for him while kissing him. And one of their meet-cute conversations is how Bear aspires to be a food critic.
Yes.
Let me just say this. The last time I was ever unsettled by a movie was the bite the curb scene from American History X.
Okay, yeah. That was a rough watch.
To this day, I still cannot watch the bite the curb scene. A wild contender emerges as Nikki feeds his dead cat to him with a picture that says, "How's the verdict, cat?" Man. Holy shit. And I just lost my cat like fucking 3 months ago.
That had to be pretty intense for you, yeah. I mean, I had a feeling that was going on the entire time. Like he's sitting there because they make him eating the sandwich kind of the background, and it's one of the scenes where it's showing the chemistry between him and Sarah. And the entire time I'm thinking like, bro, I don't want to eat anything that crazy woman made for me. And he's not even paying attention. I was like, there's gonna be something fucked up with that sandwich. And sure enough, lo and behold.
Yeah. And I kind of figured that was going on too, but the execution of that scene is just brilliant. That's the other thing I love about this movie. I love how this film sows doubt in you. You're questioning whether or not this wish is granted as he is searching the internet and getting mixed results. You have an agent from One Wish Willow who is Barker himself, who barely gives a fuck about his job. And it's revealed the wish cannot be undone and only ends if he dies.
Yeah, I kind of interpreted maybe Barker was almost like a wish demon kind of thing, like a djinn.
Yeah.
Because towards the end of that conversation, he's like, "Do you want to talk to Nikki?" And then you just hear her screaming in the background. Interpreted that like like he's some sort of otherworld entity that's holding her soul hostage and put whatever Nikki is into Nikki. That's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, that's a good interpretation too. And that's what I was saying with that. What was like, you have these doubts being sewed into you, like you're being gaslit with this one wish Willow thing. He goes back to the house, and Nikki's standing where she stood, covered in bodily fluids.
Yeah, she has a fucking that one was pretty because he leaves and she's standing at the door, smiling and staring at the door. He goes
Like
works
he's
an
Enrique
entire
from The Exorcist.
yeah. He works an entire like 8-hour shift, whatever it is. Comes back, she has not moved. She's pissed herself. She has shit herself, and she's covered in barf, and she's still smiling at the door, just wait for him to come home. I was like, holy shit.
And then Ian decides to invite Bear to a boys' night, and Bear wants Ian to go. Bear wants to go by himself, but Nikki won't let him.
I think by this point, everyone knew something was wrong and off,
Yeah.
because they made it a point to show that not only do they know what's up, but they didn't even bother inviting either of them. And when they had established that they were like a close knit friend group.
Exactly. And while at this party, they're playing drunk Jenga, and prompts are written on the blocks. And Bear gets a piece that says, kiss the person to your left, with Sarah being the person he has to kiss. And then you have Nikki, who just physically moves Sarah out of the way with a smile Blumhouse tried to make scary in Blumhouse's Truth or Dare, so she could be to his left.
Before that though, she gets her own block and delivers what I thought was a very chilling monologue.
Yeah.
Kind of her own interpretation on Hansel and Gretel, but it went deep into incest and all kinds of shit. So like there was already a lot of like fucked up energy and tension in the room, where everyone was already unsettled, and then Bear pulls his block and everyone's just like, all right, this isn't gonna fucking go good, and it doesn't.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Nikki stabs herself in the face with a vase. And then Bear gets a text from Sarah asking to talk while all this is going on. And she's in the hospital. And then Nikki, once they get home, Nikki is in his bed, and the real Nikki begs him to kill her.
I thought that
Well,
shit was unsettling as hell.
And the way she delivers that line is just, oh my god. Like, Academy, for the love of God, nominate this young lady now.
Well, and then there was there was a line in there that I think really summed up the whole movie, because Bear, when it's Nikki talking through her, Bear looks at her, he's like, is it so terrible to be with me? And Nikki responds, you were never with me.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I think that sums up almost the whole movie. Like, you were never with me, dude. Like,
it's at that point where it becomes Bear becomes fucking irredeemable.
Yeah. Bear, in my eyes, he was irredeemable before that, because when, all this bad shit was going on, he still was trying to make it work or figure a way out to finesse the situation where she's still around, he still has her, instead of being like, obviously something is terribly fucking wrong. Something needs to be done. I need to be proactive and handle this because all this is my fault. He should have did that long before this part.
Yes. And then we get the scene where Bear is in Sarah's car and tells him that Ian and Nikki were hooking up off and on for 2 years. And yeah, I saw that coming, but the way she delivers it. And Ian thinks Bear is dating Nikki for revenge. And like you said, throughout the film, it's implied that Sarah's in love with Bear.
Yeah.
And then boom, comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was excessively brutal. And what was crazy about it is like, when that was going on, I leaned into my friend. I was in the movie. I was like, this is about to explode into violence. The second I just got done saying those words, she hits the window with the brick, and like fucking just turns out a poor girl's face into fucking jelly.
This has a fucking Blumhouse logo in front of it.
But they just bought it.
Yeah, exactly. As you can tell, because there's actual quality here.
I'm told that they pulled out actually 7 minutes of this movie because of how brutal it got in certain scenes. So I'm curious about the director's cut if we're ever going to get one of those.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are deleted scenes. every scare in this film is fucking earned. And while I'm watching this, I see this man's talent, his use of shadows, his use of tension and release, the way he utilizes negative space, that fucking window shatter with a brick.
There's there's a lot he's doing, like I mentioned earlier, in the background just to keep things feeling unsettling. Like when Bear's on the phone when he's at the restaurant, he excuses himself from her, and you see her just like kind of walking out and lurking, or when like she's just always in the background, moving like kind of like in very unnatural ways.
Yeah,
Like I'm pretty sure that in the one bedroom scene they had her they filmed her moving forward, but then reversed it in the shot what you saw just to make it really unnatural. Like there's always something unsettling going on in the background, if not also in the foreground. And then every once in a while they punctuate it with just a little bit of humor to give you like a breath of okay, and then they hit you even harder afterwards.
yes. And now that Bear is scared shitless, he's helping Nikki move the body. And he goes back to that shop and buys a one wish willow, but can't break it apart. And he's asking Ian to make that wish that he and Nikki stay friends. And then Ian pulls the ultimate dick move and wishes for $1 billion and it rains money.
I like that scene because you see, like, Ian's freaking out and excited there's all this money, and you just see the heartbreak on Barry's face, like, dude, I'm so fucked. Enjoy your fucking money, asshole. Like, all the money's hitting him in the head and going around and around, and Barry's just got this look on his face like, you piece of shit.
Yeah. But it's kind of a karmic thing too. Like, I do the same thing in that position. Like, okay, you have this psychotic bitch after me. I wish for $1 billion. Crack.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it
And
also leads into, like, he also didn't believe the situation himself, and he was trying to be a little hyperbolic, and then it ended up being real.
yeah. And then Nikki has Sarah's corpse on display. And Bear wants Nikki to reverse the wish, but she wants to kill him and herself. And Nikki shoots Ian in the head point blank, going with that monkey's paw angle that this film is going for. Yes, Ian has the $1 billion, but now he's dead.
Yeah. And very unceremoniously, he just walks in the room and, like,
Yeah,
doesn't barely even acknowledge, just shoots him in the head. I also thought it was really unsettling, if you notice that she had also taken a marker and drawn on all of Sarah's tattoos on herself.
yeah,
Like, oh, you like Sarah? Well, I'm trying to mimic Sarah. She had the black lipstick Sarah would normally wear.
yeah.
This whole end scene was just, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ.
Exceptional. Like, and Bear ODs with the Oxycontins. He has no choice at this point. And
Well,
then,
that going back into the monkey paw thing, he was going to throw them up, and then she finally made the wish. You hear it crack off
yeah,
screen, and she wished for him to love her as much as she loves him, and you see him snap into that, which means he didn't puke up the Oxycontin, which was his death sentence, which is also the curse of the monkey paw. But in this case, one wish willow.
and they end up kissing, and Bear collapses as she puts the gun to her head and she snaps back to normal. Which ends on the best fucking cry scene since Honora. Like, in the movie Honora hooks up with this rich son of a Russian billionaire. And she gets more than what she bargains for, as that family wants it annulled. To the point where they straight up kidnap her. And Honora ends up finding solace in one of the thugs, who, mind you, ties her up like he's holding her hostage. And at the end of the film, where the marriage is annulled, she lost the love of her life. She's about to ride this henchman who tied her up earlier. And then she breaks down and cries. She is very much an alpha throughout the film. And at the very end of the film, you see the Shabakar and she breaks down and cries, and you hear it throughout the credits. And that's exactly what happens in Obsession.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Nikki snapped back out of it, and then
Yeah,
she's back to being herself, but all her friends are dead in this room, and it's going to be pinned on her. And I thought it was really interesting. The way he ended it was by flipping the camera back to, because she had a romance movie playing on the TV, and it's an upside down shot of the TV with the VCR on top of it, and this romance movie playing while you just hear her sobbing uncontrollably in the credits roll.
All right. So, out of 5, what would you give this?
I mean, I'm gonna have to give this a straight out 5. I mean, this is. I couldn't imagine how you could make this movie any better for concept wise. I think that they fully fleshed out the concept. They went as far as you could possibly go with it. There was lore, there was great character work, there was gore and heart and great acting, and they took a familiar spin on something that's been around since the Twilight Zone and all that with the monkey's paw, and made it fresh and new and interesting. But also found a way to like make it a deep-seated, relatable horror that almost anyone that's ever been in a shitty relationship can connect with. Like, a lot of times when these movies come out and there's a lot of hyperbole about best movie or scariest movie ever, there's always like a large subset of people like, oh, actually, it's bullshit. That movie sucked dick. It's bullshit. That movie sucked dick. I'm not saying anyone say that shit. Oh yeah, the undertone was a rough one. The Blair podcast project, nothing really happens. It's just spooky energy.
Right.
But I think it's an instant classic.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give it a really high 4.5. It was almost a 5 for me. I wish they developed Sarah better. If they developed Sarah better, this would have probably ended up being a Criterion. I really needed this after I watched Angel Studios' Animal Farm and Balls Up. I can't wait to see what Curry Barker does next.
He's already finished his next film. Because this has been done for so long, and they did the festival circuit, and just now is coming out. He filmed a movie with Aaron Paul. It stars him and Curry Barker himself, and they're paranormal investigators, but they're con artists. They make people think that their stuff's haunted and that they're taking care of it, until they end up finding some sort of real situation that they can't explain. And that's apparently he's already done filming it. It's in post-production right now. And then after that, they gave that guy the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So,
oh, holy shit, I am so fucking in.
Yeah. Like everyone that was like, when they first announced, they were like, who the fuck is this guy? They gave it to him. Go see Obsession and be like, okay, I want to see what this dude does with Texas Chainsaw.
I haven't liked the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie since 2. Like, I am Toby Hooper 1 and 2 all the way. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, unironically. The first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a comfort movie for me.
Yeah.
It's weird for me to say that, but...
On it. I even got to interview John Dugan from it, the guy who played Grandpa, on my old podcast.
Oh, right on. That's awesome.
Yeah. I have a soft spot for. I know it's a dog shit movie, but I find entertaining. Part 3 wasn't bad, and the rest of them I don't really like very much at all.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen The Next Generation, that was a what the actual fuck.
But hey, there's Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey, so...
That they had like a 6-nippled man. Oh, it was a weird movie. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I also think that not only should Inde Navarette be nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars, I'd love to see cinematography, sound design, visual effects, hair and makeup get nominated for this. Like, if the ugly stepsister could get nominated for hair and makeup, I could see this getting that as well.
I did make mention when I left the movie to the person I was with. I was like, the soundtrack did a lot to help it out, because it wasn't a horror movie soundtrack. It was a very like synthy, almost like romantic and dreamlike soundtrack. It was very minimal, and I think that actually really worked an advantage to the film, because instead of having like the big bump every time something's going, it's just like this, like,
Yeah.
Ethereal, and it makes you. It almost doesn't fully match the scenes, which makes you feel even uncomfortable and uneasy subconsciously.
Gore too. I agree with that as well. Like,
Yeah.
I felt One O Tricks Point Never should have been nominated for Marty Supreme for a score, because that score is incredible.
Yeah.
I play that when I edit photos. All right. So while I got you here, do you have any sites you would like to plug?
Uh, no, nothing really. I'm on some downtime right now. I just got done. I sold off my wrestling company, and that was a stressful number of years, and I'm kind of just relaxing and getting myself back to normal before I move on to the next thing. But the next thing I am planning on doing is going to be a horror movie. So
Oh,
I'm working on that down the pipeline, but that's going to be a number of years before that ever probably sees the light of day.
oh, that's me too. I'm very anal retentive with my screenwriting. Like, it's like I'll get like 10 pages into something and then I'll be like, oh man, this is fucking dog shit. Like, and then I start over again.
I have the idea and the general outline, and I'm fleshing it out, but I'm taking my time with it instead of being act like there's a deadline or anything. I'm just kind of letting it naturally come and float.
That's the best way to do it. Be sure to like, comment, share, spread the word of New Rums Media. Follow me on all my socials at New Rums Media. And until then, I'm not doing a spoiler alert episode on The Mandalorian and Grogu because fuck toxic fandom.